are.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think now we are live. So once again, good evening to everyone, and I welcome you all for this session by IBYM. And today we have the topic Feedforward Approach. And we would like to start with our great speaker from Greece, Rania Lampo, ma'am. Ma'am, please take over the session.
Good afternoon, good evening from Greece. Thank you, Dr. Anjum. And thank you, Dr. Ravi Sankar, for the invitation. Actually, Feedforward Approach has to do with feedback, but there is a different way to give feedback that works a lot better, a way of shifting our focus from the past to the future. This concept, called Feedforward, was originally developed by a management expert named Marshall Goldsmith. And I think that not a lot of educators are familiar with the practice of Feedforward. And I really think if we learned how to do it and started using it more consistently, this could make a huge difference in how our students grow and how we grow as professionals. So what is Feedforward? Feedback, we all know that focuses on a student's current performance. On the other hand, Feedforward looks ahead and offers constructive guidance of how to do better. Of course, we need a combination of both of them in order to know that, in order to ensure that assessment has a real impact on learning. So feedback is considered as inseparable from the learning process. We all know about this, that is an integral part to several theories also of learning. And also feedback helps students understand their performance as well as how to perform to a higher standard on future assignments. And furthermore, feedback provides students with the confidence and the belief that they have a control over their success as well as ongoing motivation throughout their studies. But what is wrong with the way we give feedback? When we give feedback to our students, the focus is usually on the past. People can't control what they can't change, and we can't change the past. And this happens to be the focus of most of the feedback that we give or receive. So this kind of feedback doesn't often get good results for some reasons, not only in education, but I'm talking also in business, in management, etc. First of all, it shuts down our mental dashboards. When we get negative feedback about something that we can't change or control, then experts say that our brain floods with stress-inducing hormones, cortisol, that trigger a threat awareness and put us on the defensive. Secondly, something that focuses primarily on ratings, not on development. Most of feedback's time and energy is spent on looking back and rating or grading performance that's already over, rather focusing on what can be done from now. So when feedback consists on an impersonal set of performance standards, we are we are overlooking the essential goal of feedback. And what is the goal of feedback? Is to create positive and lasting improvement. Another disadvantage, we could say, the wrong way we use feedback is that reinforces negative behaviors. When we hear about some negative things that we can't fix anymore, this creates a feeling of learned helplessness, the feeling that we are unable to do anything about our future. So we actually use what we call feed-forward strategies. One way of improving students' performance on assignments, as well as their engagement and satisfaction with feedback, is to increase the use of these strategies. We could say that this is a specific approach of future-oriented. Feedforward refers to feedback given by teachers that should either be given post-assignment with more specific direction on how this can be applied to future assignments, or impact upon an upcoming assignment. So in the most obvious sense, I think most traditional theories of learning includes elements of feed-forward. For example, the theory of Kolb's learning cycle, which is based on the notion of using feedback given to reflect on actions undertaken and how to make improvements to future actions. So we could say that feedforward refers to timely constructed feedback that fits into the next assignment point. And why it is important? Because first of all, it regenerates talent. Because the most effective kind of feedforward helps people see opportunities for growth, ways that they could take on new opportunities and roles. Getting positive feedback about our performance may feel good, but it doesn't break new ground. Because why? Because it confirms what we already know about ourselves and our talents. But on the other hand, when feedback gets us thinking about how to spread this talent to others, then it has a multiplying effect. So it regenerates talent, it expands possibilities because effective feedback starts with what is and helps add to it, expanding what is possible rather than simply pointing out problems. And here is another concept, which is another strategy, which is very, very effective, is what we call plussing. And it's very effective, especially during meetings, but also in education. It's when we are discussing possible solutions to an issue, rather than giving ideas that might not work. We could add to these ideas, we add to them by making small tweaks. We could say that's an interesting idea. What if we make the small changes and try that? And this technique also works beautifully with project-based learning tasks, where students may need to come up with several ideas for solving a problem before arriving at the best solution. It is something that is particular because feedforward is about picking our battleground strategically and selectively, because it advises to make feedback an ongoing process and to only focus on a few things at a time. And very important that it is authentic. So a more direct approach could be describe what is happening, explain why it's a problem, then prompt the person for a solution. In this way, these strategies put people, we could say, it takes them off the defensive. It puts them at ease because it's something which is clear, which is concise, it's locating the problem, it's looking for solutions together, and people actually want to hear the truth. And this approach could work with academic situations and with classroom also. It has something which has an impact. Know that one of the reasons people don't make progress after receiving feedback is that they don't necessarily know what to do with it. So if we want our feedback to make an impact, we have to put it in terms that people can operationalize. So regular feedback, usually according to studies, doesn't typically result in a transfer of new skills or habits. But when this feedback is combined with coaching, the transfer skyrockets to 95%. So if a student regularly forgets to bring, for instance, material to class, instead of simply telling him to change, we could help him make a specific plan for improvement. At the same time, feedback is a team sport, so that means that it refines group dynamics. There is a term in management, which is it's a concept called the creative abrasion, which is what happens when people with opposing views work on the same task together. And although this can result in more conflict, the contributions from different points of view usually produce a higher quality product in the end. That means that we could we could search from feedback, for instance, for teachers of different disciplines, for teachers who teach different subjects. This increases the group dynamics. So we can recapitulate by saying that when we talk about feedback, it's about usually grading system. On the other hand, feedforward strategies emphasize a continuous exchange of ideas instead of giving a grade. When we talk about feedback, usually this means that we get some ideas for improvement, but we cannot make these changes since the project is already closed. On the other hand, Feedforward is about the future. It involves an active discussion about how things can be done going ahead. And also, feedback promotes usually apathy among learners. On the other hand, feeding forward is about what can be done right instead of looking at what was done wrong. And research shows that the most students ignore feedback that they receive simply because they do not know it, they don't associate any value in it. We need to, we talk about feedforward strategies. This includes more personalized discussions about the future. Interactive learning is always productive. By holding regular discussions with our students, teachers can still instill the idea of positive change in a better manner. And also, we can follow the idea of blasting I mentioned before, a brilliant activity to create a collaborative learning environment. And sorry, instead of rejecting any idea upfront, participants have to think of improving the idea with something better. Always try to plan for self-improvement and encourage a student interest to build potential. So by concluding, I want to say that feedback is a thing of the past. They need to amplify students' learning outcomes, cause the idea for Feedforward, because it not only motivates the learners to put in the best efforts, but also changes their outlook towards life. So we need strategies that involve the creation of high impact feedback that is specific, that is clear in nature, in its relation to future assignments, and linked also to improvements in student performance. Thank you very much for your attention and for your invitation.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. It was really a great talk. And yes, of course, it was a great start today. This again, because we are with a topic that is a feed-forward approach, because most of the times we keep on talking about feedback. The people say that it is good to take feedback. You should respond positively to feedback and you should take it positively. But sometimes there's always accepting the feedback is not that great. And yes, it can be used by the educators, even in the classrooms, to to encourage the students. That is really very great. Yes, so I think nearly all the speakers have joined with us now. Thank you very much, Rania ma'am, for joining with us and sharing your views with us. So now let's move on to our next speaker, Melissa ma'am. Melissa ma'am, yeah.
Hello. Good evening and good afternoon. Good morning, everybody. I'm very happy to be here with you. Do you hear me?
Yes, you're audible. Please go ahead.
Okay, let's begin. Feedbacks and feedforward. What are the differences and why you should need to move forward? Are you tired of giving and receiving the same old feedback that seems to keep your team stuck in the same place? It's time to try something new. Feedforward. It is a new philosophy of supporting and accelerating employee performance and students' performance into the future, rather than focusing on their work in the past. While this obviously benefits the professional growth of your students and employers, Feedforward also promotes much more amicable interaction between workers and people hopes. Discover why your organization needs to make the switch from feedback to feedforward and what can help to your team move forward and achieve success. From increasing engagement and productivity to fostering a culture of continuous improvement. We now understand the benefits and how to make the transition with a step-by-step guide for conducting cutting-edge employee assessments. What are feedback and feedforwards? Employee feedback is a traditional way of giving reviews to workers or to students. It usually manifests as a private meeting with a manager or a teacher and can be directly tied to a raise. Many students find this old-fashioned method anxiety-inducing, seeing traditional performance reviews as a stressful and combative event, dreading the date on their calendar. Giving constructive feedback is one of the most important responsibilities for people operations, but unfortunately, it can also be one of the most difficult. Many modern managers are evolving their tactics when giving critical feedback. Feedforward is a more modern approach to this tired and counterproductive concept. The idea is a more frequent, flexible, and interactive conversation focusing on employees' future goals and growth. Rather than looking at past performance and deciding if a worker deserves a raise with the feedforward, companies look ahead at what an employee can achieve with the proper support and guidance. One of the primary benefits of Feedforward is that it is proactive. Instead of waiting for an arbitrary annual review date, managers and team leaders share suggestions when opportunities arise. For example, this could be when an employee underperformed, highlighting the need for improvement or a situation where an employee's abilities could shine. Feedforward is also future-looking, focusing on career development and ways employees can better themselves professionally. Instead of pointing out past performance as a metric for employees' value, help them set development goals to increase their contribution to the company. This is a win-win situation as it provides a clear path for individual growth and upskilling while also benefiting the company. Feedforward is a much more cooperative concept than feedback. It dissolves the us against them mentality where employees have to plead their case to management in hopes of a raise. Instead, people operations professionals offer their expertise to help co-workers grow and succeed. All in all, Feedforward enables a more positive experience for everyone involved and can lead to healthier company culture. For example, feedback and feedforward. With the feedback focuses on past performance, and feedforward focuses on future development. The first feedback given on an arbitrary review date, the other given when opportunities arise. Feedback can be reactive and feedforward proactive. The first can be confrontational, the second cooperative. The feedback can lead to us against them mentality. Then feedforward helps the employees grow and succeed. It is more positive experience for everyone involved. What are the benefits? These are the benefits of using feedforwards. There are many benefits to the feedforward philosophy. We have already touched on many concepts. And let's note that a feedforward approach does not overlook poor performance and criticism. However, it addresses these issues in a more proactive and supportive way. For example, rather than pointing out a problem with the negative feedback, Feedforward suggests a solution. This approach is less uncomfortable for the reviewer and more productive for getting results. Feedforward is also universal, meaning any employee can benefit from it. First, things Feedforward encourages professional growth and advancement. Ambitious workers will embrace it. And to get the best results, integrate Feedforward in your Tier 360-degree reviews where upwards, downwards, and cross-team analyses are possible. Is Feedforward useful for performance reviews? Since Feedforward is all about looking ahead, it can revolutionize how you conduct employee appraisal and significantly improve the results. Rather than just pointing out issues from the past, the goal is to create a plan for moving forward together. Collaboratively, setting goals helps with employee motivation, retention, and satisfaction. This approach is very different from traditional performance review feedback, where employees often have to guess what management wants to see or hear from them. Feedforward also changes the dynamic from a superior and down criticism and praise to people operations professionals, teaming up with employees to develop a strategy for continuous improvement together. The latter promotes a proactive, open dialogue between workers and management about how to make the company more successful. And how you can conduct a feedforward assessment in 9 steps. Let's begin. Conducting feedforward assessments is not drastically different from giving a feedback. However, a more mindful and active approach will be rewarded with better results. And we now can listen to the 9-step program for conducting feedforward assessments, created by experienced people, operations experts. First, provide assessments frequently when opportunities arise. Unlike providing feedback during an annual performance review, feedforward opportunities can present themselves at any time, particularly at the end of an important reunion. And then you can also describe your goal in a simple and clear terms. The goal might be, I want to complete more tasks every week, for example. And then you can ask for suggestions. Your partner will give useful suggestions on how to achieve your goal. There should be 0 references to the past. The focus is on making the future better. And then listen carefully. Don't be a combative listener. Improve your listening skills with these tips. Write suggestions down and only give positive statements like that is an impressive notion. Say thank you. That is not a time for debate. Reflect on the suggestions provided. And then swap rules. Repeat the steps with your partner, describing their goal and you're providing the feedforward. What are the reasons to make the switch? Feedforward assessments give insight into how a situation can be improved in the future rather than focusing on positive or negative feedback. Feedforward is not judgmental. It is empowering and eye-opening. It reinforces a positive interpersonal relationship between employers. If you feel that your business, employees, or co-workers are stuck on a proverbial hamster wheel, Feedforward can help you break through barriers and begin to make progress at a faster pace. It may also help you discover team members primed to lead. Knowing the difference between feedforward and feedback makes the benefits easy to spot. Remember, the past is unchangeable, but the future is a subject to change. Feedforward focuses on the development of a better future. And my speech is ended. I thank you for listening to me. And thank you again for inviting me to this important session about Feedforward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Melissa ma'am. That was again an amazing presentation. And of course, like we have been discussing about feedback approach, feed forward, and as you told, the different skills that you must be having. We should have our listening skills. We should be having critical thinking skills. We should learn to say thank you. And yes, that was really a great thing, because sometimes people think that just getting a feedback is very good, and even like people feel that if you're not getting a feedback, you will be not motivated. Feedback keeps you motivated and all, but now it's the time that we have to change this. We have to look for feed-forward approach, because feed-forward approach helps in making better leaders, better management. And that was really great presentation. And I think Rajput sir has also joined with us. Rajput sir. I think he's having some network issues because I saw him joining. Okay, so let's move on to the next speaker. At that time, I would like to invite Patricia Gonde, ma'am, for and one more talk to just express her views on our topic today for the discussion, Feedforward Approach.
Thank you, thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all viewers across the globe. And to our esteemed speakers, I'm quite happy for IDYM and Ravise for giving me this opportunity today to be brushing shoulders with erudite speakers from all over the globe. Thank you so much, our former speakers. I was just listening to Melissa and Rania ma'am talking about the feed-forward approach. And I'm going to take it from the educational side, as I am an educationist. So as I stand before you to discuss, it is an innovative approach that has the potential, especially in the to revolutionize the educational landscape. And here we are talking about the feed-forward approach in an era where maybe education plays a critical role in shaping the future of our society. It is quite important that we explore these new methods that have been discussed to enhance especially our learning experiences. And I'm quite happy to say that the feed-forward approach then is the solution, and it holds the tremendous promise in achieving this objective. What do we mean by when we are talking about the feed-forward approach? When we are talking about this feed-forward approach in education, it is the approach that focuses on providing students with evaluations and assessments after the fact. That feed-forward also takes a proactive stance, maybe emphasizing the continuous support and guidance that our learners need in order to improve their performance so that they will be able to achieve their educational goals. And this approach holds immense potential. For example, especially when we are talking about our students, we try to emphasize that we should give what we call proactive guidance, like what Melissa was talking about, being proactive, and we are talking about personalized support, and then also a shift in the mindset, a growth mindset. And this approach empowers our learners to be more proactive in their own education. So when we are talking about proactive guidance, what do we mean? We are providing our students with timely and specific feedback before they complete a task or assignment, instead of providing that feedback, that assessment right at the end. We are trying to give them the feedback before they do the assessment so that we guide them. So we can also provide this constructive guidance. We highlight areas of improvement, and we give our children that opportunity whilst they are doing their assignments to make adjustments so that at the end of the day, they can have achieved their goals. And this feed-forward approach enhances and it promotes a sense of ownership, but then it also still instills resilience because the children have to do the assignment and redo, and it also promotes adaptability and a willingness to embrace changes. So how do we provide this proactive guidance? We prepare our students for the upcoming tasks. I know that in our Cambridge syllabus, when we are planning or scheming, we have what we call success criteria. What is it that you want your children to say at the end of the lesson that I have achieved? It's the children themselves that write those that give you those success criteria. We are talking about pollution. What success criteria should they be able to say by the end of the lesson, I am able to do this? So as educators, we can engage our students in discussions about the objectives and expectations of each and every assignment that we are doing. We do this by setting clear goals, outlining the criteria for success, and then this clarity will allow them to approach their work. They know what they are doing. We've guided them. They approach the assignment with confidence and purpose. Then also, how do we provide proactive guidance, but by what we call scaffolded learning experiences? When we say scaffolded learning experiences, we mean that our students, as educators, we break down complex tasks, those complex lessons, to make them smaller, to be manageable as well. And for example, when we are planning our lessons, we break them down to simple steps. For example, introduction. We are engaging the introduction. We want to introduce our children to the topic. Then we have what they call the initial instruction. Then they practice and they get feedback. Then they go back. Then we move on to complex problems that they are doing. So as learners demonstrate this proficiency in the initial concepts and skills, the learning experience gradually introduces them to more complex tasks or activities. Thereby, you are weaning them off so that they do the learning on their own. So this approach, scaffolded learning experience approach, ensures that students receive the necessary support at each stage of their learning journey, reducing the likelihood of feeling overwhelmed because you are with them in each and every step, but you are just guiding them as a facilitator. Then when we are doing the proactive guidance as well, we have what we call diagnostic assessments. I know that at the school that I am teaching at, we have what we call diagnostic assessments in maths and English, as we are preparing our children for checkpoint. Before embarking on any new topic or unit, as educators, we administer diagnostic assessment. Why do we administer this diagnostic assessment? So that we can gauge our students' prior knowledge. That's why when we are planning a lesson, we say before we plan the lesson, what is the assumed knowledge? We gauge the students' prior knowledge and identify any knowledge gaps that we are going to fulfill in that lesson. So this information will help us educators to tailor our instruction to meet the specific needs of each student, thereby ensuring a solid foundation for future learning. Then the other the aspect that we want to talk about Feedforward is the personalized support, which is also a crucial element when you are when you are implementing this approach, and it recognizes each student that we have in a class. If I've got 30 students in my class, those 30 individuals, they are very unique. They've got their own strengths, they've got their own weaknesses, and they've got their own learning styles. In a classroom situation, we know that some students are visual learners, some students are auditory learners. So each and every student is unique. So by using this feed-forward approach, we tailor instruction to meet the individual needs. And as educators, we can maximize student engagement achievement by doing so, by using what we call differentiated instructions, where we employ a variety of instruction strategies, materials, assessments to cater for the diverse learning styles and abilities. So we offer our students now have got the opportunity maybe to engage with the content in ways that resonate with them personally, not as a class. Then we also have what we call individualized goal setting. I know that we here in Zimbabwe used to do individualized education, especially in remediation. And as educators, using the feed-forward approach, we can work closely with our students to set their individualized goals that are going to guide them, maybe that are challenging but yet attainable. So by involving our students in the goal setting process, they are taking the ownership of their learning, and thereby they develop a sense of agency, a sense of ownership. And this approach motivates our students to strive for personal improvement and growth. And then using the feed-forward approach, like I said, we have what we call ongoing formative assessment, as opposed to the final assessment that we have. So it's formative assessment. So doing these formative assessments enables our students as educators to gauge our students' progress and adjust their instructions. And lastly, we talk about the growth mindset in feed-forward approach. When we are talking about the growth mindset, one of the key advantages of this, it is its ability to foster a growth mindset amongst our students. So by cultivating a growth mindset, as educators, we empower our students to embrace challenges, and so that they also persist whenever they have setbacks, and view mistakes as opportunities for learning, not as the final. So we promote a positive and supportive classroom culture, and thereby also encouraging our children's self-reflection and metacognition. As teachers, let's try to create a safe and nurturing environment where our students feel comfortable taking risks and making mistakes. This is what we call the 21st century learning, whereby in our children, we do problem solving, collaboration. So by emphasizing the value of effort and perseverance, as educators, we can instill a belief that challenges are opportunities for growth rather than indicators for failures. And then my last thing is on celebrating progress and effort. So the feed-forward approach, teachers can acknowledge and celebrate progress of children, their effort, their resilience, and this recognition and celebration takes place in the form of incremental steps towards growth. This helps our students to develop a positive attitude towards their own abilities and motivates them to persist in their learning journey. So furthermore, the feed-forward approach, it nurtures a culture of collaboration, engagement within in the classrooms. It encourages meaningful interactions between the teachers and the students. And then in conclusion, I would like to say that it is important to acknowledge the challenges associated with implementing the feed-forward approach, because it requires a significant shift in the mindset for both educators and students. Implementing proactive guidance, personalized support, and fostering a growth mindset within the feed-forward approach requires intentional strategies in a supportive learning environment. And by adopting these practices, as educators, we can empower our students to take ownership of their learning, develop resistance and growth mindset, and then at the end, achieve their full potential. Together, let us embrace this transformative approach and pave the way for a brighter future through education. Thank you so much, IDYM, for giving me this opportunity today.
Yeah, and thank you so much, Patricia, ma'am. It was really an another amazing talk. In fact, I'm just enjoying today's session. One after the other, there's so amazing talk, because when I just read about the feed-forward approach, I thought that there should be a session on this. And I can see how one after the other, there are so amazing sessions coming up. And of course, feed-forward, it is not judgmental, but it helps us to grow. It is a futuristic mindset. It is really, really a very great approach. And thank you very much. And thank you for the super presentation that you have. And now let's invite
Welcome.
our next speaker, Dr. Emmanuel, to carry forward the discussion. Yes, Dr. Emmanuel, please take over the stage.
Thank you very much, IDYM. We always appreciate the opportunity that you give us to have a talk here, because these are some of the very important topics that we need to share globally. So I'm so grateful to be part of the great team that is the speakers of today. So today we are looking at feed forward. So I'll just summarize my speech on 5 points, if not 6 points. So I will highlight on how decision-making and processes can enhance the feed-forward approach through several strategies. So one, I will talk about accurate data collection. Ensuring a reliable and comprehensive data collection system is crucial for the feed-forward approach. This includes gathering relevant and real-time data from trustworthy sources to feed into the decision-making process. That's the first one. Now, the second one, we also look into continuous monitoring and analysis. That is, regularly monitoring and analyzing the collected data allows for identifying patterns, trends, and potential areas of improvement. This helps in refining the decision-making process and making informed choices based on the feedback received. And also feedback loops. These establishing feedback loops to gather input from stakeholders and users is essential. Feedback can provide valuable insights into the effectiveness of the decisions made and highlight any necessary adjustment or enhancements that need to be implemented. So this will be very, very helpful. Also, we are looking into technology integration, leveraging advanced technologies like artificial intelligence and machine learning can enhance the feed-forward approach. These technologies can automate data analysis, identify patterns, and provide predictive insights, allowing for more accurate and real-time decision-making. And also, agile decision-making. Adopting an agile approach to decision-making enables adapting and iterating based on evolving circumstances and feedback. It involves being open to change, maintaining flexibility, and continuously improving the decision-making process. And lastly, training and development. Providing training and development opportunities for decision makers can enhance their skills in utilizing the feed-forward approach. This can include workshops, seminars, or access to resources that focus on improving data analysis, critical thinking, and decision-making abilities. And by implementing these strategies, the feed-forward approach can be effectively enhanced and maintained in the decision-making process, leading to more informed and successful outcomes. So looking at all this, what we are seeing is that the feed-forward approach is one of the better ways that can help aid in many areas. And when we are talking about the social work, when we are talking about education, when we are talking about all those things. But when we are using the feed-forward approach, then this one is a helpful tool that will help us to develop or to come up with new strategies of approaching some of the challenges that people are facing. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. IDYM, we are always very, very happy with you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Yes, of course, that was another great presentation. And of course, it helps us to learn. And as I said, it is a futuristic mindset. Feed forward It aids in reinforcement of healthy group dynamics and collaborative connections between people. And yes, of course, I think I'm going to say I'm going to enjoy this session more and more as we are listening to the speakers from Vibrant. So now let's move on to the next speaker, Dr. Revati ma'am, Assistant Professor from Pune. Ma'am, I just hand over the session to you. Please continue.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, Anjum Puresha, ma'am, Engineer Ravi Shankar Kumar, sir, Dr. P.K. Rajput, sir. Good evening to all of you. Yes, of course, this session is very important for the students, but on my point of view, it is also important for the for the human being. So the topic is like that: the power of feed-forward approach for human being. So this feed-forward is the reverse exercise of feedback, and it is a process of replacing positive or negative feedback with the future oriented solutions. And in simple terms, it means focusing on the future instead of the past. And today we would like to discuss the powerful concept of the feed forward approach and its transformative potential in students' lives. As educators and the mentors, it is our responsibility to harness the power of feed-forward approach in our interactions with the students. So let us create a supportive and the empowering environment that nurtures their potential and helps them to realize their dreams. So together, let us inspire and empower the next generation of the leaders, innovators, and the change makers through the transformative power of feed-forward approach. So this feed-forward approach is of great importance for the students because it encourages a growth mindset and a focus on the future success. It also cultivates a culture of continuous learning and exploration. So, this feed-forward approach is a powerful tool that can help the students to achieve their desired goals and the progress in their personal life. So, let's explore their principles or the benefits and what are their challenges. So, first of all, believe in yourself. Embrace the feed-forward approach and unleash your limitless potential. So this approach creates a positive learning environment by reducing the emotional burden of feedback, and it encourages the growth mindsets and the fosters personal growth also and development. So this process of providing the feedback on future actions to improve the performance before the action occurs. So here, this approach also can also be applied to individuals in their personal lives to promote the growth, development, and the goal attainment. So for the students, this feed-forward method involves putting more importance on future objectives and activities than on the past. Ultimately, this approach empowers students to take full responsibility for their personal development, and we become the drivers of our own destiny that we know, and making informed decisions and taking deliberate action to shape our future. So we no longer wait for the opportunity to come our way, but actively seek and create them. And we are always helping to the students. And this feed-forward methodology that gives students a new perspective on personal development that is dynamic and we may reach maximum potential as people by keeping an on the future. So making the most of our strength, pursuing continual learning and taking the charge of our own development, our students' development too. So I urge each of you to adopt the feed-forward strategy and can start our own road towards the students' development. So in order to create the future, we have to develop the confidence in students' talent, set challenging goals, set knowledge, and make their audacious decisions also. So never forget that, yes, we have the ability to control our fate. So accept the feed-forward philosophy and allow it, let the students to a life of success, fulfillment, and the progress. But we can also give a suggestions to the students that we always tell them that we are not alone on this journey. So surround ourselves with a perspective network of individuals so who believe in your potential. So together we can inspire, together we can uplift each other on this path of growth. So by using this strategy, students can foster difficulties. They make the important goals and move ahead with their plans to achieve them. So it encourages the students to take their abilities, learn from their mistakes. They can make plans for the future. So this methodology is used for the growth of the students, ongoing learning also, and the flexibility in response to changing the conditions. So it motivates to take the initiative in pursuing the students' goals and the improving the students. So setting specific objectives and making proactive progress towards they can give the priority in their feed-forward strategies. So this method relies heavily on ongoing learning and development. So instead than passively waiting for the opportunities to present themselves, we actively seek and create them. We can achieve our maximum potential for the development of our student. So it inspires students to make informed decisions and actively create opportunities for students for the future success. So in conclusion, this feed-forward methodology that gives students a new perspective on personal development, and that is dynamic. And we may reach our maximum potential as students by keeping an eye on their eye on future. So making the most of our strengths, pursuing the continual learning, and taking charge of our own development we can also focus on the students' development too. So accepting this feed-forward strategy will help students to build a prosperous, successful future. So let's do this together. So create opportunities rather than waiting for them to come to you. Be the architect of your success. So never forget that we have the ability to control our fate. So accept our potential, embrace the feed-forward strategy, and set out on our path to personal development. So wishing you all the best on this remarkable path of, yes, of course, this is the self-discovery and the achievement. Thank you. Thank you, Anjuna.
And thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am. Yes, of course, as said by you, we educators have a great role to play because we shape the future of these youngsters. And if we follow the feed-forward approach, then yes, we can shape their futures. We can transform them into successful leaders. And that's what we should be doing. We should not be just producing, engineers, doctors, and lawyers, but we should be producing human beings. Those will be having, good decision-making qualities. They should be good human beings. They should be able to work for the society. And of course, feed-forward approach can help with this. Thank you once again for the great presentation. And let's now invite the next speaker, Nahid Raza, sir. Nahid, sir?
I'm here. Very good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, sir.
Today, topic chosen is outstanding. I appreciate this topic because generally we apply feed forward in our school. So I wish that everything is a process. I'm Nahid Raza. principal of Acme School of Learning, Bilaspur, Uttar Pradesh. So it is applied. But since it is a new terminology, we are loving and liking it a lot. I feel that there should be combination of feedback and feed forward, because everything is a process, right? So feedback is person-centered, feed forward is activity-centered. It is a movement. Feedback is problem and feed forward is solution. Here, we need to discuss problems, we need to brainstorm, we need to collect diverse opinion. That is how we can serve people better. So feedback is equally important here. Good to great. If we want to make our organization good, feed forward is fine. But if you want to make our organization great, feedback is truly very essential component for moving ahead, because feed forward only talks about assumption. And when you are in organization and you are assuming, right, some portion of assumption is fine, but entire process cannot be assumed. We will have to be practically very much into the process. What happens? Individually we feel respected, we feel honored, right? Cherished as well when feed forward is given, but feedback is very essential. And evaluation, the things which we cannot measure, we cannot manage. So evaluation must be brutal to make organizational progress, because we are there in school with purpose, motive, objective that has to be accomplished. People's matter. Along with that, because who is leader? The ones who is putting the efforts of the people towards accomplishing the goal. If goal is not accomplished, then where do we stand? Therefore, I feel that both of the components of feedback and feed forward, they are equally essential, right? Feedback talks about past. We need not to we need to know history, because it provides us wisdom. So wisdom is very essential, because how can we
Nice. Hey, nice, sir. We're not able to hear you. Yeah, I think he has lost connection, actually some network issues. Let's just wait for a minute. If he's not able to rejoin, we'll go to the next speaker. And yes, of course, he was discussing about another great thing, like, yes, we were till now, we were following the feedback approach, and now we are here trying to adopt a new thing, that is the feed forward approach. But yes, as we say, every terminology that we talk, any topic that we talk, everything has its own pros and cons. And Nahid sir was trying to discuss about it, like not always like you should be relying only on feedback or only on feed forward. But yes, we have to decide, we have to, look after it, where feedback can be used and where feed forward can be used. Let's see if this joins back. Till now, I think we can go to the next speaker. Yes, Dr. Suraj Kumar Mukti sir has also joined. So now I invite our next speaker, Dr. Suraj Kumar Mukti sir, to please share his views on the feed forward approach. That is the topic of our today's discussion. So we are not able to hear you. No, sir.
Hello, am I audible now?
Yeah, now you're audible, sir.
Okay, yeah, fine. Namaskar, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I would like to congratulate for this nice international platform first, Madam and Dr. Rajput sir, for this nice organization of this beautiful international platform. So the topic chosen for this platform is very, very interesting this time, feed forward. Basically, it is, we can say, how the feed forward is useful for futuristic approach. The presentation topic of this session is feed forward, a future oriented approach. So how this will be connected with future, how futuristic views can be enlightened. This is the point of explanation in this session now. Here I would like to show first how what is called as feed forward. So initially we can say that feed forward can be defined as a reverse exercise or alternative approach to traditional feedback mechanism. Instead of focusing on evaluating and providing critique or analysis of past performance, forward emphasizes future-oriented solutions and suggestions for improvement. So here we can say feedback typically involves reviewing past actions and behaviors. Feed forward shift the focus towards what can be done differently in future. So future can be decided on the basis of feed forward approach. Here I can say, no doubt. Okay. It aims to provide constructive ideas, recommendations, or strategies for achieving desired outcomes rather than dwelling on past mistakes or shortcomings. So here we are not going to focus on shortcomings, whatever is done in past. So we can say using that shortcomings or mistakes, we are trying to move forward. Here there is very important need of differences to differentiate between these two terminologies, feedback and feed forward. What is called as feedback and what is called as feed forward. Here we would like to show what are the differences between these two terminologies. So point wise, here I'll elaborate what is called as feedback and what is called as feed forward and what are the advantages of these two things. So feed forward is retrospective in nature, focusing on past actions, behaviors, and outcomes. Whereas feed forward is future oriented, emphasizing potential solutions and suggestions for improvement. Secondly, we can say feedback involves providing information, critique, or evaluating based on what has already happened. Whereas feed forward focuses on upcoming actions, behaviors, or outcomes and how they can be enhanced or adjusted or achieved. Feedback typically highlights strengths and weaknesses and offers analysis and suggests improvements based on past performance, whereas feed forward provides guidance, ideas, or strategies for achieving better results in future. Feedback can be both positive, acknowledging good performance, or negative, pointing out areas for improvement. Whereas the feed forward encourages individuals or teams to set goals, envision desired outcomes, and take proactive actions towards the goal or improvement. Here we can say in case of feedback system, it is often used in performance evaluation, coaching session, or after completing a task or project. Whereas feed forward is particularly used in situations where the past cannot be changed, or when the focus is on continuous improvement. So here, in nutshell, we can say feed forward approach is very necessary to set our future goal. Okay, so feedback or feed forwards are different in their approaches and time orientation. Feedback can be provided valuable insights and learning from the past, while feed forward can guide future actions and encourage growth, encourage aims, set the goals. We try to achieve the goals using feed forward approach. Effectiveness of both feedback and feed forward depends on the quality of communication, the openness to the receiving and action upon the information, and the context of the they use, in which context the feed forward is used. It is dependent on the situation also. Here we can say some steps involved in feed forward processes are, I would like to elaborate some 9 steps are there basically. So here one by one I will elaborate what are that steps. Number 1, we can say identify the goals or desired outcome. Initially in number 1, we have to set our goal. We have to identify our goal. Okay, what are the desired goals? We should identify first. Then we go for assessment of the current state of that goal. So assessing process comes in second stage. Then we go for generate ideas and solution. If it is needed, then we try to generate ideas and solution for the problems which are already set in the goal portion. Next, we go to prioritize and select strategies, because we may have so many strategies, we may have so many procedures. So out of them, which will be the good fit for our purpose, we here in 4th stage we prioritize the strategies. Then we go for create action plans. We prepare a action plan roadmap to achieve the particular goal. So this will be within the step number 5, we can say creation of plans or maps, road maps. Then we go for communication among our team members. We will try to communicate, or we will try to convince them as per their convenience, as per their facilities available with them. Then we go to implement and monitor. Once it is communicated to the people, we just try to implement our strategies. And in 8th stage, we try to reflect and learn. Okay, if any kind of drawback is there, any kind of slackness is there, then we go for learning of the same. How this is happening, we try to rectify the problem. Then at last, next stage, we try to repeat and iterate. If it is good, then we try to repeat the same, and we try to iterate the same. Iterations may be followed continuously. Okay, so here what we are trying to do step by steps are, I have mentioned as number 1, identify the goal or desired outcome. Then we go for assess the current state. Then we go for generate ideas and solution. In 4th stage, prioritize and select strategies. In 5th stage, create action plans. And 6th stage, communicate and cascade. And in 7th stage, implement and monitor. And 8th stage is reflect and learn. And 9th stage is repeat and iterate. Repeat and iterate means the feed forward process is iterative and ongoing. As goals are achieved for circumstances changes, okay, recesses and current state, generate new ideas, and adjust strategies accordingly. Continuously iterate and redefine and refine the feed-forward processes to derive continuous improvement. So this is a kind of iteration method here. Now the question arises: what are the advantage of adoption of feed-forward approach? Why this is needed? What are the benefits of feed-forward approach? Here we can justify the advantages. I would like to show some points, like it is future focused. Future focused. How it is future focused? Feed-forward directs attention towards the future and desired outcomes, allowing individuals and teams to set goals and work proactively towards them or towards the goal. It promotes a forward-thinking mindset that encourages individuals to envision possibilities and take steps to achieve them. So this is focused on future. Now next comes is solution oriented. The feed forward approach is for solution oriented. It emphasizes providing suggestions, solutions for improvement. It encourages individuals to focus on what can be done differently or better in future rather than dwelling on past mistakes or shortcomings. This solution-oriented approach fosters innovation, creativity, and positive problem-solving mindset. Development growth. Next is development growth. Feedforward offers constructive guidance and recommendations for personal and professional development. It helps individual identification, their strengths and areas of improvement, enabling them to take ownership of their growth journey. Next is empowerment. The feed-forward approach empowers individuals by them in the decision-making process. It encourages open communication, active participation, and idea sharing. Next advantage we can consider as positive feedback loop. What is positive feedback loop? Unlike traditional feedback, that can be sometimes be demotivating or discouraging, feed-forward creates positive feedback loop. It focuses on strength, potential, and growth opportunities. Next, we can consider as an advantage is enhanced communication. Feed-forward promotes effective communication by creating an environment that value ideas, opinion, and perspectives. It encourages active listening and open dialogue, leading to better understanding and collaboration among them members. Adaptability and agility. Agility is very important here in this case. Feed-forward enables individuals and teams to adapt to changing circumstances and dynamic environment. By encouraging a proactive mindset, it helps identify emerging trends, anticipate challenges, and develop strategies to address them effectively. So this is called as adaptability and agility. Next advantage can be considered as continuous improvement. What happens in continuous improvement? As feed-forward approach aligns with the concept of continuous improvement. By regularly seeking input, reflecting on progresses, and making adjustments, individuals and team can be continuously learn, grow, and enhance their performance. So these are some of the advantages which can be mentioned with feed-forward approaches. Now here at last, I would like to show applications of feed forward, where it can be applied, where it is very much useful, for whom it is very much applicable. So here we can say personal development. Number one application of this feed forward is personal development. Feed forward is valuable for personal growth and development. Individuals can seek for feed forward from mentors, coaches, or peers to receive suggestions and strategies for improving their skills, achieving goals, and overcoming challenges. So it is very much important for personal development. Next we can consider is personal management. In the workplace, feed forward can be used as a component of performance management system. Instead of solely focusing on feedback about past performance, managers can provide feedback to employees, offering suggestions for enhancing their skills, addressing weaknesses, and achieving better results in future or for future. So this is very much important in workplace also as personal management. Now, at last, we can say team development or team management. It is very much useful for team development. It is useful for building high-performing teams. Team members can provide feed forward to each other, focusing open communication and culture of communication improvement. It encourages collaboration, idea sharing, and constructive feedback among team members, resulting in improving teamwork and productivity. Ultimately, we will be able to improve the production and the productivity of the person and of the plant of the workplaces. So this is very much important for our personal growth, for our professional growth, or our societal growth, and for the society also. So this feed forward approach should be adopted for our students, for our faculty members, for our society also. With these words, I would like to close my talk here. Thank you very much. Thank you, IDYM team.
Yeah, thank you, sir. And yes, for highlighting the feed-forward approach, how we can be using it, and the different types, the different steps that are involved, both in the feedback and the feedforward approach. That's really, again, an amazing job. And with this, I would like to invite Nahid Raza sir again, because I think due to network issues, he left his talk in between, which was going on in a very interesting way. Nahid sir, have you joined? I think you have joined. Nahid sir, are you there? Right, I think your network is. Nah. Oh. Okay, let's move on to the next speaker, Dr. Rashmi Maurya. Rashmi ma'am. Dr. Rashmi Maurya. I think even Rashmi ma'am is having some kind of problem. Yes, Nahid sir joined back.
Hello. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you so much for giving this opportunity to be the part of this talk show. And today I would like to give my view regarding the feed forward thing. See, as a teacher, or you can say as a mentor, what the things we observe in our regular activities, or you can say the communication with the students. So feed forward activity, as we say, or the perception is we can say it's not a new thing, as the experts had already informed us that it's a terminology which is already coming from the feedback. So we can say feed forward is the way, we can say it's a improvised feedback method. okay, which will not only restrict the things that what went wrong, it also helps to understand that what can be the better opportunity or better activity rather than this. Now, what I understand as a feed forward thing, feed forward, it's a kind of SWOT analysis for the learners, the students, where we timely give them the information which can improvise their performance rather than taking in a negative way that what is the failure, taking in the positive way to make them understand why and where they are lacking. So SWOT analysis, when we do, we always analyze the strength, weakness, opportunity, and threats. So feed forward is also somewhere near to the SWOT analysis technique, where an individual can be analyzed. His or her strength can be analyzed, and same time for that strength, what can be the possible opportunity, the threats which are there, which weaknesses are there, how can they be, you can say, overcome, the limitations can be overcome. As the students, they are the learners. These learners need to understand that what is the reason to taking up any assignment or to taking any activity or to doing any work. The reason must be explained to them. So feed forward is the activity, or you can say feed forward is a way where we can inform them, okay, when you do this work, this will be the positive thing. So feed forward is a roadmap which is given to the students. Not only the students, we as the teacher, we as a mentor, we also many times get the feedback from the student, which becomes the feed forward for us for the improvisation. There are no, you can say, no restrictions in a way of doing the feed forward or feedback. As I said, feed forward is an improvisation on feedback only. Without feedback, there cannot be feed forward activity. You must understand where I am lacking, and then I can improvise and I can do better in the future. For students, as what I have experienced and what I want to share on this platform is that there are many activities, many work which we offer to students, like participating in many activities, doing the placement activity, doing the competitions, and so on. Why there are the students who are not participating in this? First one is the fear of failure. But when we explain them, when we take the approach of feed forward, we explain them that if you perform well, if you participate in this activity, how it going to help you in the future. This is the thing which is required in this feed forward work. And as sir said very correctly, it's not a new thing. It's the same thing which is going on, but only the way of understanding has been changed now. So here I just want to say only thing is that feed forward, we can say it's a more positive way to motivate rather than just putting the negative points and telling someone or the student that where they are lacking. It's just a positive way which everybody should implement. As individual, I will also implement whatever feedback I will get after this conversation. As a speaker, what are my where I'm lacking, what are my drawbacks. So this platform is also a feed forward approach for myself as well. Okay, so here I would like to thank you all the dignitaries who had listened me patiently. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Yes, of course. Feed-forward approach, it regenerates talents. It expands the possibilities. And it is authentic. It describes the problem, its impact, and prompts the solution. It has an impact, and it is a design step-by-step plan for improvement. And it refines group dynamics. Rich and varied views come from the people from different points and different skill sets. And yes, we are here to discuss. And yes, well, I think again, Brother Sir has joined us. The presentation was just left over. So, sir, we would like to hear, listen to you, the rest of the speech that you had.
Sorry, ma'am. Sorry. Actually, feedback talks about lack of planning. It talks about past event which has gone off, and nothing can be done which has been done. We cannot make it undone, right? So here in Feed Forward, we have action plan. An action plan, as Sir Mukti sir stated, is done on the basis of the, after setting the goal and assessing the previous situation. That is, previous situation means assessment. That is again feedback. On the given feedback, we prepare strategy. Then we have action plan. So feedback talks about top to bottom. Top to bottom we are talking, right? If we are talking about bottom to top, as Toyota has it, right? So we can redesign the landscape of organizational operations, right? Feedback has become an instrument of fear and not of joy. Not of joy, but of fear, right? So both of these components are essential, because if we are a bit nervous, right, we are more focused. And when we are more focused and productivity is there, or joy is automatically derived from our actions. So we need to understand, because the youngsters who are going from colleges to corporate, they wish to get feedback, right? And when we only talk about feed forward and we are not giving feedback, so it means we are creating a team, a mass of mediocres. So we want excellence. If we want excellence, so assessment should be brutal. That is feedback. Feed forward is all about looking at not just who we are, but also who we perspectives, right? So what are the benefits of feed forward? Future forward orientation is found in feed forward, because we talk about future, we are entering into the future, and processes should be redesigned, right, and restructured in a way that it talks about future orientation, and we feel free of previous things which took place in the past, and since we cannot do anything, right? And also future forward talks about optimization of skills, because there is no mental block, right? We are free of it. We are light in weight. There is no bagage. So we can optimize our skills. We can give our 100%, because we are not scared of it, right? Future forward is not judgmental. There is no judgment into it, right? Process is there, right? Specifically, it could be applied in writing skills development among students, right? Let them write freely, let them have process, right? And at the time when children are doing, please do not interfere, and at the end give them again fear forward input, so that children can further their writing skills. You must have seen that children are not into their writing skills, because but in spite of that, we know that it is very essential tool of our expression, right? Reinforming position, right? So feed forward also talk of cooperation. It does not talk of competition. It's talk of collaboration, right? And cooperation, it is very essential component, right? And we talk about growth mindset in feed forward, right? Yes, if it's very helpful, right? So there is no barrier, breaking through barriers, no barrier. We are working for the goals. Growth mindset is there, collaboration is there. When collaboration is there, acceleration is there. When acceleration is there, productivity is very high and outcome is outstanding, right? So we need to accept feed forward as the tool for tomorrow, right? Resilience Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Yes, as you were talking about feedback and feed forward. And yes, that was, I think we were actually waiting that you can join again and just complete what you were saying, because very beautifully you have described. And even our previous speaker, Dr. Rashmi Maurya, she has also described about how we are using feedback, how we are using the feed forward approach. Of course, feed forward approach is nothing new. We have been using it since many years, since many centuries, even the previous centuries, people have used it. But now we have started realizing the difference between feedback and feed forward. And just as an educator, like most of the people who are present over here, they are educators. So it is not only that we can be using it for the students, but we have to use it for even for ourselves. How can we help the students to grow better? And like Rashmi ma'am was talking about SWOT analysis and relating it to feed forward approach, that was really a great thing. So yes, at the end, we can say that before just concluding the session, we can see that feed-forward approach can be implemented in problem solving. It can help in conflict resolution. It can help in training and consulting, in personal evaluations and project management, as a systematic approach in teams, and many more. And in its implementation on a large scale in organization, feed-forward can support a delegation management posture and can foster changes in all the cultures. So yes, it is really a great thing, and it was a very great discussion. In fact, I would like to thank all the speakers who joined us today. Rania Lampo ma'am, Nalisa ma'am, Patricia Gourne ma'am, Emmanuel sir, Dr. Revati ma'am, Nahid sir, Suraj sir, and Rashmi Maurya. A big thank you to all the speakers for joining with us. And yes, we cannot leave without thanking the organizer of this event, Engineer Ravi Shankar sir, the founder of IDYM Group of Companies, Dinal Asmi, our young and dynamic CEO, and of course, the chairman of this group, Dr. P.K. Rajput sir, who is again a very great mentor who has always been motivating and inspiring us to work better. So thank you, one and all. Thank you for joining with us and making this event successful. Thank you.